Hey guys, what's going on? This is going to be a Star Wars information video, and I didn't really know when to make this video because they kept releasing a bunch of information week after week after week after week, and I think they've basically released all the really important information you guys have been dying to know, so I'm going to make a video just going over that, playing the cinematics, so you guys have something fun to watch while I go over this information. But basically, I'm just going to be spitting information to you guys about the game. A lot of you guys have questions, and I feel like this would be a good time to sort of answer those questions right before the game comes out. First up, it appears that you're going to have EA Origin to be able to play this, which is kind of a bummer, but you also have to have EA Origin to play Battlefield 3, so it's not really a huge deal, but some people are griping about it. I don't really think it's that big of a deal. And I'm not really 100% sure if EA Origin is going to be like Steam, where you have a client that you actually have to have running, or if it's just going to be like you have to have an EA Origin account. I'm thinking you just have to have an account with them. I would think Star Wars would have its own client and stuff. And here's a biggie, subscription cost. A lot of you guys are wondering if this game was going to have subscription. I thought it was a no-brainer, but yes, this game's going to be a subscription-based MMO, which is honestly not a bad thing. I really prefer subscription-based MMOs over non-subscription-based MMOs, because every company has to make money. Like, that's just a no-brainer, and I'd rather it be through a subscription rather than through cheap means, selling items, all that kind of BS. But the subscription is going to be $15, the standard MMO subscription, per month, and if you buy more months in advance, it gets cheaper. So if you buy 3 months at once, it's going to be $13.99 a month. If you buy 6 months, it's going to be $12.99 a month. So if you buy more months in bulk, then you get a cheaper discount. Standard, WoW does it, this game's going to do it. I think it's pretty fair. I actually think it's pretty cheap that MMOs have been able to stay at $15 even with all the inflation and the economy going to shit. I think it's still pretty cool that MMOs are only $15 a month. And if you guys didn't know, Star Wars is coming out December 20th, which is really, really awesome for me because my college semester ends December 15th, and if you pre-order the game, you get to play a few days early, so that means that Star Wars is coming out right when I am off for my big month. It's over a month-long Christmas break, so I'm going to be able to play Star Wars all day. I am so excited. I'm just going to sit at home all day, play Star Wars, not talk to anyone, and just lock myself in my room, and it's going to be awesome. I can't wait. I don't think there's any solid information on how early you get to play if you pre-order the game. I have a feeling they're going to do what Rift did and just give you a week early. That seems to make the most sense. It might not be a week, it might be 5 days. I don't know. It's basically just trying to get you to pre-order the game early, and it's a smart thing to do because you're going to get ahead of the crowd, and you're not going to have mob competition. And there's been a little bit of rumors that the collector's edition gets more early time than the other edition. I'm not sure about that. But if it does, then that's awesome because I got the collector's edition, which it'd be epic if the collector's edition got it even earlier, but I really wouldn't care if they didn't. Right now what you're seeing are the system requirements, and these are a lot lower than I thought they were going to be. I'm not sure if game companies have just gotten better at making things more efficient because the Battlefield 3 system requirements were a lot lower than I thought they were going to be. But honestly, guys, I would get a good computer. If you don't have a good computer right now, I'd start saving your money, maybe ask for some parts for Christmas, ask for money towards your computer for Christmas, because you want a good computer for this game. I have friends in the beta. The game looks amazing. The graphics are great. This is a game that you really want to have a good computer for, just to enjoy it all the way. Now let's get into some frequently asked questions, and these are directly from the Star Wars The Old Republic website. How important is the PvP community to Bioware? Answer: very important. The Old Republic PvP developers are avid gamers and are very active, long-time members of the MMO PvP community. We hold preservation and growth of the Old Republic PvP community near and dear to our hearts. Now, of course, that's just a generic company answer, but I guess it's still kind of nice to hear them say it rather than just be like, fuck them PvPers, we hate those bastards. But I wasn't really expecting them to be like, nope, this is a PvE game. See ya. But then again, I wasn't expecting Rift to do that, but of course they waited for everyone to buy the game before they said, fuck you PvPers. Next up, a very important question, a question that I wanted answered, was, is there going to be an arena system in Star Wars? Now, I necessarily wasn't looking for an arena system. Like, I don't really care if there's not going to be 3v3 or 4v4 or whatever, like a WoW arena system. I don't really mind if they don't have something like that, but I wanted some sort of competitive PvP of some kind, some sort of rated anything. And they are going to have rated war zones, which is basically the equivalent to rated battlegrounds in WoW. And they haven't really said what else they're going to do, but they have hinted towards other competitive arena, not really arena, I keep saying arena, but other competitive outlets So far, the only thing they have announced is the war zones, but I don't know. From the way they worded the answer, yes, there will be other sorts of competitive things. And then the next question I found really, really kind of hilarious is there going to be non-combat PvP? I read that question, I was like, what the hell is non-combat PvP? But apparently people want, like, pod racing and shit. That's retarded. Like, honestly, Bioware, if you're watching this, don't waste your time with that shit. Like, yeah, that's cute, but it's a hotkey-based MMO. Don't waste your time with pod racing or any of that other bullshit. Hopefully they don't do that. The next question was, is there a way to deal with gankers, and will there be a criminal or bounty system to prevent people from ganking? And Bioware didn't really give an answer to that. Honestly, if I was in charge of World of Warcraft or this game, I would just make it to where if you're a high level, you just can't attack low-level players and they can't attack you. Like, I don't know. I was never one to gank low-level players. I never got any reward out of that. I do think you should be able to attack anyone that's your level at any time, though. Like, I don't care if you're AFK, like, you should be able to kill someone your level at any time, anywhere. Which leads me to the next question of, will there be safe zones outside of faction-specific planets? Now, I was extremely pleased with BioWare's answer. They said there's going to be very, very few safe zones. This is great. This means there's actually going to be world PvP. Hopefully, this answer stays valid, because that's the one thing I didn't like about WoW. They catered to the people that complained. And there's a lot of people that are just like, I hate getting ganked while I'm doing my dailies. Oh my god, I want to get my 13 gold. And then they just basically ruined world PvP with flying mounts and bullshit like that. Safe zones, I think you should be able to walk into Stormwind if you're Horde and kill someone. I don't care if they're not PvP marked. Like, you should be able to do that. So hopefully they stay true to this answer and allow you to just kill people willy-nilly. If they're in a PvP zone, that you should just be able to kill them. Like, that's it. Now, this next thing really isn't a question, but I just found it extremely interesting. Now, in World of Warcraft, you have a diminishing return system where X crowd control shares a cooldown with another crowd control, so you can't just link crowd controls over and over again of the same kind of like how Priest Fear and Blind share a DR. I'm not sure if they still do, I haven't played in a while, but basically, certain CCs share DRs. In Star Wars, every CC is going to share DRs through a resolve bar, so the more you get CC'd, the higher your resolve bar gets, and the less the CC is going to do to you. So you're going to be immune to all CCs eventually. And obviously the resolve bar goes down if you don't get CC'd for a certain amount of time. I'm not sure on the actual times, but I do think that's a pretty cool system, because in WoW, certain comps are really good because they don't share DR. Like MLD is a great comp because it doesn't share any DRs. And it's kind of stupid. So I do kind of like the idea of everything sharing a DR. Obviously, there's gonna be a lot of string pulling of what does certain amount of resolve, this ability does this much resolve, and that's obviously gonna take months and months and months and years of balancing, like constantly balancing. But that's just MMO. Like, you just have to deal with that. Certain things are gonna be OP, I'm sure, just like any other game. This next question is another great question, and the question is there gonna be cross-realm queuing? Like, you know how in a battleground in World of Warcraft, when you queue, you get a bunch of people from different realms. Same goes with dungeons, you get a bunch of people from different realms. And the answer, which I found also very interesting, they said no, there's not going to be any cross-realm queuing, there's not going to be any cross-realm anything. They believe on connecting the realm together through those means, kind of like vanilla WoW was. Which is kind of a good thing and kind of a bad thing. It's a bad thing because that means queue times are going to be longer, but it's a good thing because you're actually going to get to know the people on your server. And I think it's more of a good thing because I did like how in vanilla WoW you actually you got a reputation on a server, people knew who you were. Now you just sit in Stormwind queue, get in the dungeon, you never talk to the people, it's boring, it's lame. But this way you're going to actually meet new people, you're going to find cool new people that you never knew were cool people any other way. And you're going to get to know the people on your server, and there's going to be drama, and the game's going to be interesting. And since the queues are going to most likely be fairly long, it's going to encourage people to actually group up with their friends, their guild, and get stuff done rather than sitting in a queue system. The next question is there going to be PvP rewards? And Bioware said yes, there will be PvP rewards, PvP gear, PvP currencies. There's going to be open world PvP objectives where you're going to capture a certain place and get benefits and all that fun stuff, so that should be interesting. Star Wars is going to have dual specs. Now, if you aren't familiar, every class in Star Wars is going to have a spec. The class I'm going to play, the Inquisitor, it has a Sorcerer and Assassin spec. The Assassin is melee, the Sorcerer is ranged, magic, or healing. So there is going to be dual specs. That is a good idea. It's really convenient for players just to be able to switch specs willy-nilly and not have to go all the way back to a trainer or some other sort of place where you switch the specs. Now, I'm sure they could incorporate some sort of gold dump to balance out the economy, which I wouldn't mind them doing. It's a good idea. Now on to another concern that people had, and the concern was that everyone's going to play lightsaber classes. Now, what you're seeing right here, obviously, that's badass. Don't get me wrong. I'm going to play a lightsaber class, but Bioware obviously knows this is a concern, and to be honest, the ranged classes, like the Smuggler and the Bounty Hunter, they look so awesome. And my buddy that's in the beta says that the ranged classes are arguably cooler and more fun to play than the lightsaber classes. Which I think they should be cooler, because they have to do something to make people from just playing lightsaber classes. Now, I'm sure when the game comes out, there's going to be a million people running around with lightsabers. That's just going to happen. But eventually, people are going to realize, like, holy fuck, that's awesome. The Smuggler's awesome. The Bounty Hunter's awesome. And I really think BioWare, if they're smart, they spent a lot of time making the ranged classes have really cool mechanics. I've already seen the cover system, and that looks really cool. Every time I think about the cover system, I just think about bounty hunters like wall bouncing with shotguns, like in Gears of War. But I don't think it's gonna be quite that ridiculous. But it does look like a really cool mechanic. How you're just gonna be able to use cover and kind of just pick people off. That's pretty cool to me, and I think that's gonna make playing a ranged class a lot more fun. Anyway, I hope you guys got all the Star Wars news you wanted. I will be updating you when more news comes out. A lot of you guys have been asking about the guild and wanting an invite to the Star Wars guild. We were the first guild in the world to hit 500 members. We didn't know there was a member cap. We were the second guild in the world to hit 500 members. So we had 2 guilds hit 500 members. We cannot invite anyone else. And the only solution to that problem is to make a 3rd guild. Now, I'm not really sure if we can do this. I know the guild alignment process. If any of you guys keep up with that, I need to talk to Douglas a little bit more about this. But apparently you can align your guilds, like have like friendly guilds and get on the same server together. So I'll talk to Douglas a little bit more about that. Since he's the guild master, he should have some insight on that. But if somebody wants to make a 3rd guild, I don't think he'd be opposed to that. But we just have a lot of people that want to be in our guild, and guys, we need some opposition. So if there's a guild out there that wants to show us up, please, because God, there's going to be so many Sith on whatever server we're on. It's going to be insane. So we need somebody to step up to the plate and say, "Fuck you, Darren McTire. We're going to kick your ass," because we need some competition. Because I kind of have a sad feeling that it's just going to be like 90% Sith, and we're just going to like own the damn place, and that's not going to be any fun. Anyway, guys, that'll wrap this video up. If there's any more Star Wars news that I find worthy, I will definitely let you guys know, either through specific videos like this where I just talk about Star Wars, or through Gamers Digest. I'm really stoked for this game. Obviously, I think it's gonna be a blast, and I'm gonna be spending a lot of time on this game, especially since the first month of this game being out, I have that month basically off. So that's gonna be very, very enjoyable. And I plan on making a ton of Star Wars videos. I plan on being the Star Wars hub. Basically, me and my guild, we're gonna rate this game. I promise you that. We are going to play the shit out of this game and get really good at it for you guys. So yeah, that guy just got owned. So I'll see you guys later.